contract with just employment. I won't touch you. He said, if you don't want to continue, he was like, I will still give you another job in the company that is more suitable to your skill set. He was like, so that way, you won't be wasting your time like at another job. And so, of course, she's like, okay, yes, it's a good deal. It's a good deal. So she goes to work um, through the day, and then the next day she goes to work. And then Hunter, he asks her to go to dinner. So they do talk a little bit. She was afraid to kind of get to know him too much because, again, you start knowing people, you start liking people. So but they had a little cutesy moment. He offered her some of his steak. She offered him some of his ravioli, that type of thing. It was a cute little thing. So they leave, and he insists, that she take the driver home. And she finally caves in and she says yes, because old girl just loves to take the bus. So she goes to work the next day. Hunter gives her the company credit card, and he's like, okay, you need to go get some new clothes. So he didn't want her to feel bad, because no, her clothes were not up to par. He was like, listen, I do it for all the assistants, and that's just that. And she's like, oh, okay. It made her feel a little bit better. So he also told her, don't use the bus anymore. Call the car service, or you can take a cab, but like, don't take the bus anymore. So she took the card. She spent some good money. She goes to work the next day. He tells her, she looks really nice, and then he doesn't say anything else. So the next day is Saturday. She has to work, and so she tries to put on like this little sexy red skirt, matching blouse. Girl was trying to look good. So she even put on this white lace lingerie underneath with a garter belt and some black high heels. Girl was trying to do it. So he didn't say anything to her, but she kept, every time she would look at him, he was like staring at her. So then she gave him a document that he had been waiting for, but she didn't copy both sides. And then he starts touching her leg, because she had to come around to the side of the desk where he was. And in her mind, she was begging for him to fuck her, but she kept it in her mind. So his hands start running up and down her legs, and then inside her thighs, and he starts fingering her again. And then he whispers in her ear, tell me to fuck you. And of course she yells out, fuck me, girl couldn't take it no more. So they have this hardcore session. He already made her come before with his finger, and then he made her come again. And after it was done, he just shut down. He started talking about the paper that she had brought into him to sign. She went in the bathroom. She had a cry because, that affected her. And then when he wanted to go to lunch, she agreed at first. But then after their fuck, she decided she just was going to go home. So he told her, you can take the laptop home, and, because she doesn't have one, because the one she has isn't working. So then Hunter also made Bert kind of take her home. So he tries to explain Hunter's demeanor to her. Bert does. But she still felt bad and cheap and about what had happened, and the response from him afterwards, which was nothing. And I guess even if you go into a situation and you know it, I guess if it makes you feel like trash, then that's how it makes you feel. Good, bad, or whatever. So next day, she talks with Kimberly about what happened, and even the part about only signing the employee contract, not the personal one. Kimmy's shocked, because she's like, he's never fucking done that. That's a first. He makes people sign both of those contracts. That's crazy. So then she tells her about, how he reacted after they fucked, and he was just like, that's how he is. He just shuts down. It just goes back to business as usual. And so Olivia's like, I don't know if I'm built for this. This is a lot. I don't know if I can do it. Before they get off the phone, Kimmy invites her to come out the next night for drinks with the gang, kind of celebrate her new job. And she agrees. She's like, yeah, I need to get out. Yeah. So she reads her emails and sees where Hunter told her that in 3 weeks there's going to be a charity event, and she's going to be his +1. So he advised her, get some formal wear. So get 3 dresses, or, get some options and like bring him in on Monday. So then he kind of jokes with her that, she shouldn't be working. And they have like a little fun banter back and forth via messaging. So then he tells her that, Bert's going to bring her up a package like within the hour. So sure enough, Bert brings her a Mac Pro, an iPad, a cell phone, like all kind of stuff. And so she messages him, thank you, I shouldn't accept this. This is so much. And he was like, of course, no, you should accept it. And the next night she goes out, gets drunk because they kept ordering shots and she kept drinking. And then around 10 o'clock, she's like, I gotta go. She looks towards the door. She sees her ex, Jonathan, has just popped up. Jonathan comes up to her. And the first thing that comes out this girl's mouth is, I love you. Why did you do that to me? She's drunk. So she's got pure verbal diarrhea right now. So he's all like, oh, I made a mistake. I'm so sorry. And then one of her friends, Rick, who's a guy who was actually the main one ordering the shots. He's like a rich, what do they call him? Trust fund kid. And so he's like, no, you don't. You're just the only reason you're here and the only reason you're talking to her is because she got a job with Hunter Carlisle. And apparently he had been applying to that company. He couldn't even get an interview. And so, of course, Rick and Jonathan, they're about to fight. Olivia's like, I got to get out of here. Like, I can't do this. So the bus was out, she thought, because she's like, I'm not even coherent. Maybe I should just get a cab. So she tried to call for a cab, but instead she pulled up Bert's number and called him. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She's completely wasted. And she's like, I didn't mean to call you, but I'll find a way home. So then here comes Jonathan, and he scoops her up, and he starts asking her these questions about Hunter. And then her phone starts buzzing because it's Hunter calling her. And so then Jonathan's like, why does he have your direct number? And she's like, because he's my boss. So then Jonathan takes the phone and he answers it. And he's like, Mr. Carlisle, I'm going to take her home, And he's like, that's not necessary. I can take her home. It's no problem. And then the line goes dead. So, that meant Hunter hung up and Hunter is more than likely on his way. And sure enough, they're like almost to Jonathan's car. And all of a sudden they hear this revving of an engine. And this fancy ass car pulled up and it's him. And he just comes up and he's like, why did you not give her your jacket? She's freezing. He's going off because he just took Olivia out of his arms and got her stuff. He was like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, she's just coming with me. And so Jonathan's trying to talk to him and stuff. And he's just like, ugh, like he don't even want to talk to him. So he gets her in the car. He takes her home. Of course, while they're, driving, the girl just says whatever because there's no filter. So she tells him, like, I want you to kiss me. He doesn't say anything. Then she tells him when he walks her up to the stairwell, she starts like pulling on him and pulling on his shirt, tugging at his pants. And he was like, Olivia, like, we can't. He's like, you'll hate me in the morning and I cannot watch you have that same dejected look like you with watery eyes again. And she's like, I didn't have a look. He was like, I'm not stupid. I know what I saw. So she kept begging him to take her. So he compromised and he was like, I will please you up until you tell me to stop. So old Hunter starts eating her pussy and fingering her at the same time. And then Olivia wanted to please him. So she took out his dick and she went to work. And he's like yelling out in ecstasy. And she takes him deep in her throat. And she swallows every drop of his gum. And he was still hard. And she like kept rubbing on him. And then he asked her to like, he's like, do you want me to fuck you, Olivia? And she, of course, is like, yes. And so then he fucks her raw. And he asked her, like, if she was still on the pill. She's like, I am. And he fucked her good and hard. And then she falls asleep. So when she wakes up, she goes to work. He's gone, of course, by the time she wakes up. And she goes to work the next day. She's nervous about how he is going to react. So she gets to the office. Brenda gets on her about not spending enough and not taking the car service. So she goes in to give him his coffee. And he tells her, they're going on a shopping spree at noon, basically. So he takes her to this high-end store and has her try on like tons of dresses. And the last dress, he tells her, how she looks like she always had money in this dress and how amazing she is as a person. And then they kind of slowly dance to like no music. Sounds like he does romance to me. Okay. So then he has a jeweler come to the office to kind of put together, excuse me, perfect pieces for the dress and everything for the event. And he wound up purchasing it, and she flipped out. She's like, that's too much. You can't do that. No. And he's like, no, that's fine. He's like, you'll take care of it. She's like, I don't have anywhere to like put that, He's like, I'll keep it in a safe until you're able to like take care of it. So the next few weeks kind of go by in a blur. They're preparing for an event as well as working on this proposal to take over another company. So when Hunter would get like really stressed, he would like message Olivia to like come in the office so he could fuck her. But when she went in, there was like this whole he would say like, I don't have this was only one time because it's all it took, and she got pissed. So he was like, I don't have time to get you wet. He's like, just suck my dick. And she felt like trash, and it's one thing when someone talks to you dirty, it's in a moment, it's hot, it's sexy, right? But this is more like, just do this for me so I can be done. That's when I get why she felt a little trash. I get it. I get it. I totally understand that. So then she got up. She's like, fuck this. I'm not doing this. So she got up. She left. So then kind of they would go back and forth in messaging, and they would kind of do a banner, and different times he would get stressed. Pretty much when work and stuff got to him, he gets like super stressed. He needs a release. And he'd be like, are you sure you don't want to come and fuck me? And she'd be like, not unless you got some flowers and some Shakespeare poems to like quote to me. And so he told her, he'd revised the contract. But she was just like, I don't want something that's just on your terms. And what I need doesn't matter. And he was like, well, just read it and just let me know. So she had a whole fit. And she just like stormed out the office because, it's Olivia. She's having a moment. So the next day, Hunter sends a woman named Pat to do like her hair and makeup. Bert comes over as well. She looks absolutely stunning. And when Hunter comes up to the apartment to see her, he says just that to her. He's like, you are stunning. So they go downstairs, and while they're in the car, he asks her if, she's looked over the revisions. And she lets him know her issue is he gets what he needs, but she doesn't get what she needs. And he tells her he can amend some more things, but she was like, I don't want to have to go out and get someone else since I can't initiate anything with you. And he tells her, I don't want you with anyone else. So they, of course, get on the PJ, which has Carlisle written on the side of it. And she thinks like it's like a family jet. And Hunter was like, no, whatever money I inherited has already been imparted. He's like, so clearly there's some discord with that family that he has going on. So hopefully, they'll dig into that some more. So they go to the event, and it's a charity event. And of course, everyone's staring at Olivia. Some women are trying to figure out the real deal with the two of them. Because here's also the thing. So Hunter has a fiance, but he doesn't fuck his fiance. She's pretty much just it's kind of to appease the families. In other words, they're that's what he initially says, is to appease the families, but there's actually another little thing behind that whole engagement. So his fiance, she screws whoever she wants to, and, and he gets what he needs from his assistants. And he doesn't like fuck multiple people. It's just, if you the assistant, you the only person he fucks. So he's loyal to in that regard, So there's some mean girls, of course. And one of them even says, you probably sucked him off to get the job, just all kind of bullshit. So Hunter comes over, and then his father walks up. His father's name is Raj. And he has, of course, this like bimbo looking chick, super young, ditzy. So Hunter immediately goes rigid when his dad comes around. So when he introduces Olivia, he sounds really cold and guarded. Well, apparently Raj has only come to try and get the Donnelly guy away from Hunter. So he knows Hunter's working on this